Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video, another story time video. Today I thought I would sit down and talk about what is it like marrying someone outside of your culture. It's gonna get real in this video, guys. I'm gonna be talking about everything that I think you should be aware of if you are considering getting married someone outside of your culture. And I will share my experience on this side, and I'll also share tips that could help you along the way to make it successful. When you start this journey, you don't know much, and obviously you're going to get exposed to so many different things that you were not aware of. Now, marrying someone outside of your culture is a challenge, but if you're willing to go through all the steps that's necessary to make it possible, it has its own beautiful story that you can tell to someone someday. Marriage on its own is a big commitment, and in all cases, whether you marry someone from your culture or from outside of your culture, it requires commitment, responsibility, and obviously it does require a lot of patience. Take whatever I say in this video as a grain of salt. Whatever that you can get from this video, use it in your own favor, and make sure at the end of the day, whatever the decision that you make is your own decision, is the conclusion of your own decision. Now, if you are new to my channel, I have to begin with my own story. I am married to someone outside of my culture. The decision that I made was a big decision. It was a big commitment, and there were gains and losses that I had to experience, and maybe in the future I will make a dedicated video about the specifics of it, but for now we're just gonna stick to what to expect. Now let's go ahead and start what you can or what you may experience before the marriage. If a person lives in a different country than yours, obviously the distance is something that you're gonna have to deal with. Me and my husband used to be in a long distance relationship, but we made it work. We had 12-hour difference in our time zone. When he goes to sleep, I would wake up in the morning. The distance was a big thing, but still now with the technology, with internet, literally everything is possible, guys. It's amazing. I'm so grateful that this opportunity, the technology gives us a chance to make things possible that were not possible before. When you're dealing with the distance issue, it puts a lot of relationships into a test. This is a time that you will be tested how committed you are to a relationship. Are you willing to go through the process where you're not able to meet your partner physically? In so many cases, relationships are built with physical element, but when the physical element is taken out of the situation, it is a challenge. Family situation is a big one. It's a complicated one as well, guys. Now, my case was half and half. My mom was totally into it. She helped me in every single process that I went through, being together with my husband, and she was very supportive. But my dad, in my case, he was not. My situation with my father is kind of complicated one. There are things that I needed to avoid in order not to make the problem worse. I don't want to get too much into detail, but at the end of the day, you have to be happy with yourself and with the decision that you made. And when you make a decision for your life, you are the one who's going to deal with it, not your parents, especially when it comes to living with someone. It's 100% on you. Yes, definitely, we all do get influenced by our parents. Yes, we definitely do get influenced by our friends and our brothers or sisters, but it all comes down to your happiness and the future that you see with someone, in a marriage. Language was another barrier that I had to deal with, that we had to deal with, that we still deal with nowadays. Now, luckily, I can speak English, so that's the reason why it was possible for us to, getting married and making this relationship possible. But again, I'm not native speaker. There are days that I do not understand certain concepts, certain sarcasm or jokes. Like, I literally don't get it. My husband says something in English and I don't understand what it really means, and I ask explanation. I ask a lot of explanation. I ask a lot of questions, trying to understand what it really means, for them. Another thing that's a challenge when we have conversation with my husband is I say something and I don't really mean it in a bad way, but it means in a bad way in his language. I just interpret it in English with the proper, maybe not proper, I mean with the a certain words, and I don't always know if it means good thing or bad thing in English. Again, it's a learning process. I'm still dealing with it. I'm still learning as much as possible. Religion is going to play a big role as well if you are a religious person. If you do have different religious beliefs, between each other, this is something that you're going to have to learn to accept and learn to respect other person's perspective. My husband is Christian, obviously. I don't have any objections about his beliefs. He believes whatever he feels right, but at the same time, he respects my a way of viewing religions as well. Now let's go ahead and talk about the situation after the marriage. After you get married, culture shock is a thing, something that you may have never experienced before. One day you're going to be exposed to it. In certain cultures, alcohol, for example, is totally acceptable thing, but in others it's not, especially when it comes to women drinking alcohol. Here I had to learn my way to accept and understand it and use it in my own way, where I don't always get weirded out of certain things. You know what I'm talking about? And again, it all comes down to how you view the world and how you choose to accept it. People are different. We all are different, and we do have our differences, and this is what makes the world beautiful, in my opinion. You don't always want to be closed. You want to be open, and you want to understand someone's perspective in certain things. Communication in marriage is very, very important, especially when it comes to something that you are totally not aware of in a cultural sense, and your partner has to be willing to explain. Your partner has to be willing to bring you into the situation, so you are participating as well, and that you're not always an outsider. Now, when we talk about communication, the same goes with house chores, the same goes with how you treat the place that you live or the space that you share with that certain person. For example, I cannot tolerate when my husband wears shoes in the house. And in my Asian mind, I just am like, oh my God, take off your shoes, please. This is a house, this is not a street. Food probably is the number one thing that I miss the most, about my country. I love Uzbek foods, and I love the flavors we have there. How so much food that we make are produced in a natural way, and I crave certain flavors. Coming here, I was exposed for American diet, like eating burgers and hamburgers, just processed food, and my system could not carry this at all. I had problems over and over again with my health. Sometimes your system literally freaks out, like, what is this thing? For example, I did develop an allergy for avocado because in my country we don't have avocado, but I love that certain fruit so much that I started eating it every day, and it obviously did mess with my digestion and obviously created a problem. But again, just take it easy, especially when it comes to learning someone's food, in their culture. You're gonna have to learn what are their favorite flavors, what are their palate, and bring your own to the table as well, so that way they do get some understanding, of your world. Someday maybe you decide to have kids, and you have to come into conclusion with your partner to raise your children in a certain way, and you have to talk to each other before this happens, like what kind of beliefs we're going to teach them, or at least get them exposed, and so that they understand everything and make their own decision. And last but not least, it's all about finding your best friend in a life partner. If you do find your best friend in your partner, to be honest, all of these things that I'm talking about are going to be a secondary thing. The first thing, being happy with the person that you are sharing your life with, because that's a lifelong journey. You want to make sure that the person that you share your life with is going to support your decisions, is going to support you to be the best version of yourself. It's like holding hands together but walking on our own path. I think that's the best way to sum up the situation. Whether you have a different beliefs, whether you have different cultural background, it's all about finding the right person to share your life with. Once you match your energy with someone else's energy, that's a success, in my opinion. This is pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. I really hope you did find the video useful. I really do hope from the bottom of my heart that my words help someone out there, in case you're going through the same situation, or in case you're thinking about marrying someone outside of the culture. I totally understand it's a commitment, it's a responsibility, it's something that you may not be aware of. If you are at the beginning of your journey, it may be something that you are not prepared for or expected. I really hope that this video gave you some enlightenment. And so anyway, if you did find the video useful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. It lets me know to make videos like this more in the future. If there is one thing that interests you, let me know in the comment section. I'll take a note. And so alright guys, I'm gonna leave you alone now. Have a great day, enjoy whatever that you're doing, and I will see you in my next video.